Hi everyone, it's James here from Production Expert, back with another gear review. Well, a kind of follow-up gear review, if you will. Back at NAMM 2020, bless those heady days, we saw the chaps and chapesses at Audient had released two new audio interfaces, the Audient EVO, the EVO 4 and the EVO 8. We then got our greasy mitts on the EVO 4 back in about March time, towards the end of March, and I now have its big brother, the EVO 8. It's a very similar beast. They have changed a few things internally and externally and a few operational things, but effectively the EVO 8 is a doubled up on steroids version of EVO 4. It's got four lovely EVO mic pre's, two pairs of stereo outputs, two headphone outputs, which is a really nice thing, and a JFET DI, which sounds great on bass. You will hear this later because, of course, there's a track. There's always a track. It's the law. A few things have changed, but not a great deal. Smart gain is a very simple process. If we had a mic set up and plugged in, we press the smart gain button, choose the first channel and press it again. It then goes into glow mode and it's working out what gain while we're playing or singing that it needs to apply to get the perfect level into our DAW. But of course, we have nothing plugged in at the moment. So hey, it's great. It's a really solid little box. I like it. The EVO 8 also has a very nice software control panel. You can pair up the mono channels to make them stereo, solo, and mute, of course. We have a pan pot. This is all for the internal monitoring. Now, one of my favorite features of the control panel is purely graphical and purely for pleasure almost. It has no operational effect, but as you turn up, you can see that the numbers illuminate in the channel strips, which I think is really nice. We then have two stereo pairs of playback from our DAW. In this case, I'm running Pro Tools, of course. We have our loop back, and we can choose to hide or show either the mics or the DAW inputs. We then have the ability to switch between our outputs, which ones we see, be it the master outputs 1 and 2, or the artist mix, in this case 3 and 4. And you can change this functionality, so you can either have the same thing feeding both outputs 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, or you can set up an artist mix and have a completely different mix feeding outputs 3 and 4 as opposed to outputs 1 and 2, which is really rather nice. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. So with EVO 8, Audient have done away with the hardware mix control. So there's no ability on the hardware to mix between your input and output signals. It's all done in the software control panel. I think with the EVO range of interfaces, or the pair of interfaces, Audient are trying to appeal to a slightly different market, to a different customer. It's very much aimed at the podcaster, the someone getting into recording for the first time, someone doing Zoom calls, things like that. The gamer, the multimedia person. It's a really solid, usable box. And what's not to love? It's great. So, of course, there's a track. There's always a track. It's the law. This time, I thought because we have four lovely mic pre's, we'll use some real drums, kick drum, snare drum, and a pair of overheads. We've then got the bass recorded directly using the JFET DI. Guitar is coming from my new Synergy amp with the Dumble module installed, and that's feeding my Grossman cabinet with a Sontronics Delta and a Sontronics Corona. So we have a dynamic mic and a ribbon mic in there, and it sounds awesome. A little bit of processing for level, a little bit of reverb, and it sounds great. So that's the EVO 8, the big brother of the EVO 4. Do remember to check out the EVO 4 review back from March. We'll put a link up there somewhere. But hey, other than that, what's not to love? EVO 4, EVO 8 from Audient. Hope you enjoyed that. My name's James Ivey, and I'll see you again very soon.